We'll have to continue our conversation that we just started, but this is Chris and Carol. I think we need to move this over here. I think our videographer forgot to get our sound.
He's not very good.
He's not very, you can't get, you can't get good help.
These days, it's impossible.
So,
Such a crapshoot.
this is Chris and
Carol.
Nine Flags Coffee Roasters. Come on, click that.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I have my little straws in there.
You're predisposed to other things here. At 1504 North Street, Nacogdoches, Texas.
759
59.
64. I'm telling you, the old zip code, it just wants to come out because it's so similar.
Are we going to have to ask you to raise the top of your cap up again so we can see those
No,
fluid blue
I'm
eyes?
concentrating. I don't have blue eyes. You don't even know my eye color. You're just throwing one out there.
Well,
Yeah,
What?
yes, look at those beautiful blue eyes. They're not anywhere close. See,
you-
but blue-eyed people, they don't pay attention to anything else but their own. They're like, oh, my blue eyes, oh.
how can you improve on it?
I know. Oh, I'm married to a blue-eyed person. They want to tell you all about
Blue
it.
eyes are somewhat rare.
They're not.
They are rare.
They're rare.
Brown is the correct, correct color.
That's kind of
It
what
is
I thought.
the most common color there is.
And it will dominate over blue eyes genetically.
One of the rarer eyes is amber.
Amber.
There
Okay.
are amber eyes and green eyes. Those are two of the
Green
more
and gray.
gray.
Gray is uncommon too.
Sometimes people that have blue eyes, depending on their mood, will go to a different color of blue that can be described as gray.
I don't believe the mood thing. I think it's the clothing.
Well, talking about moods, we need to maybe pull the conversation we had just before we came in here. Yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So your hip is hurting.
Oh my goodness, it's the worst right now.
And you thought a little bit of exercise was
I
going to help
did.
it.
Okay, so I'm familiar with this pain. I've had it before, and it feels like lower back pain. It's not lower back pain. It's hip pain that radiates. So stretching my back out doesn't do anything. You got to stretch the hip. Sometimes a little bit of exercise and moving, getting it that area of the blood working will help alleviate some of the soreness.
Do you ever
Well-
try Aleve?
I need to go get some. Ibuprofen, not cutting it.
Just throw some in your coffee.
Oh my goodness, I don't know. I need to do something. But I decided yesterday, well, you know what? I'm going to go take care of those weeds that are 6 feet high out in my pasture before it's, the growing season gets fully going. Let's get all this stuff out. So I thought the appropriate exercise would be to get the pickaxe out.
The pickaxe.
Get to work.
Not a shovel, not a hoe. No, this one was going to use a pickaxe.
It's 2 thumps, and then you just pop the weed up. It's really not that much work, but it is more of a leg exercise and hip than it is. You don't use your back. You shouldn't be using your back to use a pickaxe. And so I got inside and I went, oh, I have crippled myself.
I want to help you on your attitude. Your attitude.
Stinks.
Well, you're feeling bad. You got it bad. You came in on a roll
I
about
was-
this and that and the other. And
Yeah.
what I want to do is I want to help cheer your spirits. I happen to have received right here some fan mail.
Oh, no.
Yes.
There is not.
There is fan mail.
I don't know.
So let me
Okay, go ahead.
Let
Let's
me
go.
read this to you. Carol, you are the greatest. We really like your opinions and the way you come across to your listeners. You should tell your podcast partner to be nicer to you and not be an insulting toad. Carol, who does your hair? I want to be just like you, a devoted fan.
Who is this person?
A devoted fan.
I feel pandered to.
Pandered to?
Yes.
Devoted. These are people that idolize you.
Listen, I view the world with skepticism. This
skepticism.
Who does my hair? Hello, is it done?
They want to know who does your hair. They want to be like you. Tell them who does your hair.
I'm wearing a hat. No, there's no hair being done. It's not being done. If
And
I
you-
took this hat off, you would be unimpressed with
You-
what's going on underneath it.
You didn't.
Like who's the lady that cuts my hair? Or who did this? Come on.
Who did this? It's like, who caused this accident? Who scratched my car? Who?
Don't get me started on scratch.
All right. Okay.
My hip's flaring up. It's good.
You
Let's
didn't-
not go down that road.
You didn't take any offense that I was called an insulting toad, but you had
I
to
wasn't
go
worried
on.
about you.
You had to go on about your hair.
That's-
This is all about.
That's your problem.
You're the you movement.
Listen, you are the insulting toad, not me. So you'd work on you, and I'll work on me. I'm not
Listen.
saying that you are. I'm not saying you are at all. That's somebody else's deal.
We welcome fan mail, and we really do want to know what you think. So you can either send it to 1504 North Street, care of.
I think we should use constructive criticism, though.
Well, we need to know what people think. What are your likes? Help us so we can improve this. Or you can just drop any notes on by.
Listen, I think the only reason that people might think you're being mean is because they haven't seen the real me, which is pretty annoying. So if it's maybe not a fair shake. So if they think you're being mean to me, it's simply because they don't know the level of obnoxiousness that I can really bring to the table. It hasn't been unleashed in its full fury.
It got close last podcast. She came in on a tear.
Yeah, I was.
It's-
I've been on a tear for a week. I mean,
That's probably
maybe it's the hip.
all the evil that is in you, because you've gone on this tear, has centered in your hip, and now you're feeling the consequences.
Do I need to have my hip, like have an exorcism done on my hip? Is that going to be the cure?
Long needles.
Oh man, like acupuncture?
Oh no.
I'll take it.
Like,
Bring it.
Like,
I don't even like needles, but
like-
at this point, like stick all the needles you need to into that hip. Like just make it go away.
just
It just hurts.
I want to hearken back to our last podcast. I apologize for not keeping track of the time, so there was a bit of a
Panic.
dead spot. And when I came back, Carol was left alone here,
Oh darn.
and she was behaving herself. But when I came back, we talked a little bit about, is that a peppermint patty?
Delicious.
Absolutely.
A superior candy, if you ask me.
Well, that was going to be my question. What candies do you think goes the best with coffee?
Well, I think a peppermint patty, let's just start with that, is a good across the board, whatever time of day candy.
And that was in the early afternoon.
Yeah. Peppermint patties are one of my favorites. I think plain chocolate is good with coffee. I don't
Milk, dark,
milk or dark. I like both of them.
white.
No, that's not a chocolate. That ugh.
Ugh,
White chocolate is
It's
for people
grease.
that
It's
have no
grease.
taste buds.
it's
It's
grease.
sugar flavored.
It's sugar flavored grease.
Yeah, it's gross.
Do
It's
people,
gross.
Do people know this?
The people that like white chocolate don't care. They're shoving it in their face. They don't care. They think it's the best thing. It's you either like it or you don't. It's like seafood. There's no middle.
If you were
White
going to
chocolate.
dip a strawberry in a chocolate fondue, would you dip it in a white chocolate?
No, I will
A
drop
milk
kick
chocolate
that
or
strawberry.
a dark chocolate. You're interrupting again. Dark
Yeah.
chocolate. You're hip.
Dark or milk is fine. Now, I'm okay with you if you want to stripe it with white chocolate, like a little decorative garnish. Go ahead, that's fine. But don't take a perfectly good strawberry and destroy it in white
Grease,
chocolate,
sweet.
which
sweet
isn't
and
really
grease.
chocolate anyway.
It's grease.
Yeah, basically. There's no chocolate
There's no redeeming
liqueur in it,
nutritional
which is what makes chocolate chocolate.
from the chocolate bean.
That's right. Yes. So the term itself, white chocolate, is incorrect. They could call it white grease, but then nobody'd buy it.
Talking about, it's a misnomer. It's not named right.
Okay, yeah, yes, it is.
I would like to talk about milk.
Oh, really?
Yes, I would.
Oh, are you in the milk camp or the no milk camp?
I am in the milk. Actually, if you were going to be in the milk camp, you would be a Finlandier. Finland,
They drink a lot of milk.
they are
Most milk.
they are the first in per capita consumption.
Hmm.
Finland.
Interesting.
Now, we, the United States, is in 17th place
Okay.
for milk consumption.
I drink milk.
I think it's about 22, 24 gallons a year per person.
Mm,
Finland is 34.
34.
Now, good for us. We beat out Slovenia.
Okay.
Well, they were 22nd. We didn't beat them out by much. The Slovenia. Now,
Or
hold on here just a minute. Now, milk. We drink cow's milk here,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
but there's milk from a lot of different places. There's cow's milk. I did a little bit of research into this, and throughout the centuries and throughout the world, milk from cows, bovine, water buffalo.
Mm.
Yeah, there's one. Try to milk a water buffalo.
No, not doing it.
Goats.
Oh,
And of course, everybody knows about goat milk and goat cheese.
I love goat cheese.
What is,
I've never had goat milk.
what would you say the difference is between goat cheese and cow cheese?
Flavor and texture is two totally different things.
How is it different?
It's a soft cheese, somewhat crumbly.
Is
Little
all
crumbly,
goat
a little-
cheese soft?
It's tangy. Yeah, as far as I know, it is. I think it can have different moisture content where it might be a little more crumbly than others. You can slice it. but-
Reindeer milk.
Well, if that's all you got to milk, I'm sure it's fine.
As I was doing my research, I discovered that it takes 2 people to milk a
I
reindeer.
believe it. I
Two
would not
people.
want to get near those little pointy hooves. You
They-
catch one in the eye.
Well, they said one has to hold their horns
Oh yeah.
or
look,
their
they're-
antlers,
Mm-mm.
and the other does the milking. But I don't know why they made such a big deal about milking reindeer. I would think trying to milk a water buffalo. How many people does it take to?
Well, if the water buffalo is handled on a regular basis, I'm sure it's probably okay. Because that's kind of in that part of the world, isn't that their cow? Like our milk cow, the water buffalo is something that's a little more common to their environment.
Which of the reindeer do you think Santa milks?
I don't believe in Santa, nor his reindeer.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, well,
What is wrong with Santa?
Santa.
I know Santa.
Yeah, well, it
No.
figures.
No. I know Santa.
A Santa?
and Mrs. Santa.
Yeah,
Mrs.
well.
Claus. I know them. They happen to go to First Methodist Church here in
Oh.
Nacogdoches.
Well, that's neat.
Neat.
Yeah,
Neat.
I don't know.
Golly.
Somebody
This is-
somebody dresses up as Santa and Mrs. Claus during the holidays, but you can't do this year round. Maybe you can. Maybe it's like those Civil War people that like live like that but all the time.
Most of the people that
Civil War reenactors.
Most of the people that dress up like Santa year round are in Rusk at the mental institution.
Oh, I see. Well, so these people, this is their side gig.
Well, it's
Is
a
it?
side gig for all the imposters.
Why are you so upset about this?
I know Santa.
You don't.
I don't.
Santa's got another name and it ain't Santa.
I believe Mrs. Santa gets the elves to do the milking of the reindeer.
They don't milk any reindeer.
You don't even believe in them. So why are you saying they don't milk reindeer? You're a disbeliever. You may be a heretic.
I don't think so.
People drink horse milk
Yeah, I guess if you gotta.
and sheep milk.
Yes. Same category. I do like sheep's cheese. That's also good.
They milk camels
Yeah, I bet they do.
and yaks.
Oh man, camels are wild too. I wouldn't want to get into it with a camel.
They will spit on you.
They will stomp you too.
Hello.
They will if you mess with a camel. If you abuse a camel, it's not a good thing. They remember by scent, and they will track you down and they will stomp you to death.
Where did you learn this?
My uncle.
Your uncle was
My
he a camel
uncle, no,
handler?
No, but he told me a story of somebody who was in the Middle East. Now, okay.
I told you a story about Santa and you rejected
Yeah,
it. Why are you
because it was stupid.
on the roll? Here you are. It's that bad. She
I
hasn't
don't care
gotten rid
about
of the
Santa.
bad. All right,
So-
back to your uncle and him
So he
milking
told
camels.
me a story about somebody he knew that was over in the Middle East, and there was a Arab gentleman. Well, maybe he wasn't a gentleman. I don't know, but he was doing something in the market where there was all these camels. Different people had these different camels. This camel, he had abused this particular camel. Now this is all this fellow gets this story
This is
after this transpired.
Like he beat him or something?
Yeah, like the camel remembered him, and they remember their memory is based in scent. So
Scent
the
equals
camel-
good or scent equals bad?
the camel started acting up, knowing this guy was within smell range, and the
Smell
guy
range.
knew it, and he stripped out of his clothes and ran away, and the camel got loose and came over and stomped his clothing. And then the guy watching this is like, what's going on? They're like, oh man, he's a known camel abuser, and
He's a naked man in
and he
public.
ran away.
He's a naked
Listen,
man in public.
that part of the world's wild. So
What country was this in?
it was somewhere in the Middle East, somewhere where they use camels.
Somewhere where people.
I don't
go
know.
naked?
Like I said, this is like a associate of my uncle that witnessed this event, and so apparently, if you overdo it with a camel, watch your back because they might find you and they might stomp you. But look at the size of a camel and look at those feet.
Yep.
And they will spit on you.
Well,
Have you ever heard a camel? They're terrible sounding. They're scary.
Yep.
Anyways.
I've never had any personal experience.
Yeah,
with a
I
camel.
just say no. Mm-mm.
Well, let's talk about something you've had personal experience with. Almond milk. Now, what I want to know is, first of all, how do you milk an almond? Look,
Very tiny.
I just happen to have an almond here, and I want you to tell me how you tell the difference between the ventral side and the dorsal side. Here, tell me which it is.
That's not an almond. That's a cherry. What am I supposed to do with that?
That's not an almond?
That's not an almond.
Get away from me.
There's
Get away.
You give me a cherry. No, let me see. That's an almond.
That's an almond. Which side is the ventral side? Which is
Listen,
a dorsal
This
side?
is what you do. You put it in a smusher. They smush it, and that's how and then they get the liquid out.
Where are the little teats on it?
Yeah, where you put it in like the little milking machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now
They don't do
you were
that.
talking about the
Do you know how much water it takes to grow almonds? It's a crazy amount
lot.
of water. And you need like a drier climate, which is why they grow them in California.
so they don't milk an almond.
They don't actually milk an almond.
Why
It's
do they call it almond milk?
Because it's a liquid. I don't know.
Orange juice. It's a liquid. They don't call
It's
it
kinda
orange
milky.
milk.
It's kind of like it's a milky color. It's a brown, milky color. Orange juice isn't milky unless you add milk to it. And who does that?
They
Creamsicle.
should be calling this almond water or almond juice.
I agree. Almond water is more accurate. People gotta have their almond milk.
What's the benefits of almond milk over regular milk? Why do people prefer it?
I don't remember. I did look into it because
Does it taste like
I tried
almond?
it. I tried it. It does taste like almonds, and I just went back to milk, regular milk. Milk. I think the discussion is around the hormones in milk, non-organic milk,
Mhm.
and also the type of protein that is in milk.
And this is where people get their lactose intolerance?
That's just lactose. No. I mean, people do drink almond milk because of lactose intolerance. The type of protein in milk, if I'm not mistaken, can have some sort of detrimental health
Is it-
effect.
I
I
wonder if
don't
it's-
remember what it is.
You're the barista.
Casein is the protein
Ah.
in milk, and a lot of people that are really into bodybuilding and weightlifting, this is a protein that they like to have because it's like slow delivery, I think.
Bats are a
Oh,
mammal.
don't get one in your hair.
No.
That's how you get rabies.
How do you milk a bat?
Why would you? That's stupid. Don't mess with bats. Don't touch one.
You know, I can't imagine
Sorry.
somebody wanting to drink bat milk.
No. It would be like it wouldn't be worth the effort.
I heard someone on TV.
It better be better.
They got this recipe out of a cookbook, maybe back in the 20s or 30s,
Uh-oh.
about bat soup,
Well, I
and they
mean,
used bats.
in the 30s, I mean, that makes sense. During the Depression, you might need to make bat soup.
How many diseases could you get from it?
Well, are you cooking it to the right temperature? What about vultures? About eating vultures? Shouldn't do that.
Can you milk them?
We don't need to milk everything. It's not even, doesn't even need to be a question.
I want to, because we're talking about things that have to do with science and everything, I would like to share with you, Carol, and our podcast listeners about a science project that I did back in the 4th grade.
Oh, a while ago. Just a while.
Back in 1914. Why? See, you youngsters
Ah.
have, when I grew up, that was the time to grow up. Not now. You go out and people say, watch out for the sex predators, watch out for this, watch out for that. We didn't watch out for anything back then. We'd get on a bicycle, we were gone all day. And then we had to show up for supper.
Yeah, that was the way it was when I was a kid, too. We could be out in the neighborhood, like the streets around our house, ride our bikes around.
And you've grown up now.
Yeah, I don't ride around in my. Wait, what?
What?
It wasn't as carefree. Now, when I was a kid, that's when the crazy kidnappings started. It would be like stranger danger van, offering
Stranger danger, man.
van,
Van.
like the van.
Yeah.
At school, you would get a letter home that there was. You had to take this letter home to your parents that they'd give the description of the creeper van with the one window in the back that was cruising by and approached a child.
Do you remember the Slender Man deal?
No, I don't. I've heard of it, but I don't know what the deal is.
I never
with it.
got this, but he was on the internet
Oh,
and
did he drive a weird van?
mesmerized kids, and they did things that were, at least some did
Not my
things that were
kids.
terrible. You like kids?
Not my kids.
Not your kids. They probably don't watch Slender Man.
No, they would not.
All right. So my science project, 4th grade, Miss Evans.
Oh, I had a Miss Evans.
I loved Miss
So
Evans.
I liked my Miss Evans.
I
too.
wanted to marry her, but I was a little too young.
Yeah, she wasn't having it.
So we had a science project, or the show and tell thing.
Oh yeah.
So I brought a piece of, I wanted to give a demonstration of rapid oxidation.
Okay.
So I brought a piece of amorphous phosphorus to class, and of course I had it in water. You keep phosphorus in water because once it comes in contact with the air, it starts rapidly oxidizing, therefore bursting into flame.
Oh my goodness, this would never.
So I had a piece maybe half the size of a walnut and brought it in, and I put it on this small piece of wood on top of the desk, and I said, here it is. It's once it hits air, which is oxygen, it begins to oxidize, and room temperature is the what do they call it? The flammable point at which it will burst into flame. So as we're sitting there, it starts smoking, and I say, Now it's building its temperature, and it's doing this because of oxidation. Everything that oxidizes produces heat. And you can see that if you go out into a mulch pile in the wintertime, dig down in there, it's very hot. So as this was smoking, it burst into flame, and it's burning, and it's burning through this piece of wood that's on the desk. The desks were wooden back then, made of oak. And the teacher says, well, okay, we've seen it, now put it out. And I said, I can't put it out. It's got to burn all the way up. Well, before it was over and done with, it burned through the top of the desk on into the part where you put your notebooks and everything.
So this is why nobody can have any fun now.
I got it off.
Yours is just one of many.
Listen,
I had a friend whose dad was telling us they used to get magnesium
yes,
and put it in their neighbor's burn bin every so often, and then he would burn it and the whole thing would go off like a rocket. And I was like, this is why we don't get to do anything, is because you people
you people,
in the golden age,
yes, the golden
got
age.
to set everything on fire
We
or
had,
blow it up.
well, a friend of mine showed me that you don't take, it's not a good idea to take a piece of elemental sodium and flush it down the commode.
It sounds like something. Don't flush anything in the commode that's not supposed to be in the commode. Period. That's the rule.
Let me tell you,
That was no different
Sodium.
back then.
sodium you keep in diesel or something like that. It reacts violently with water.
Oh my goodness.
So once it gets flushed down, it's down in the pipes. And when it
Oh,
decides
good.
to,
Oh, good.
once it decides to explode, you have
A
an
major
inter-
plumbing problem. Yeah,
So-
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, I thought it was fun.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
my
let me tell you,
goodness.
the good old days
Oh, yes, as they say.
when boys could be boys.
No, no.
Oh yes.
No flushing anything in the toilet.
What about can your boys be boys today?
They can't flush anything down my toilet.
Well,
That
no,
ain't supposed to be in there.
in other people's toilets.
No, they wouldn't anyway. They'd be like, why would I do that? It'll blow out the plumbing. That's what both of them would say. They'd be like, no. Sounds like I'll be in trouble for that.
Is this why when you go into the bathroom, there's usually a sign that says only flush tissue?
Probably.
toilet?
I mean, maybe that's the real story.
The real story. It doesn't say anything about sodium.
Listen, if it ain't a dookie
I do. All right.
or
You know,
TP,
I'm getting-
oh, now it's too
I
much.
am getting a little uncomfortable now.
It don't go down the toilet. I like how you're still defending it. Like, let's, just blow some pipes up. That'll only be a couple
No,
$1,000.
I'm not defending it. I'm just,
There's a multitude of things you could have been doing at that time that wasn't destroying property.
when I was
Vandalism.
when I was
Never understood it.
when I was put in isolation
Oh my God.
at one time in the 7th grade, really didn't have a place for isolation, so they put me in next to the water heaters and everything in this room that I don't know was probably 12 by 14. I had to stay in there maybe 3 hours or so. Children are curious.
Oh goodness. Ugh.
And as children are curious, me being a child, I was 12. No, I was 13.
Old enough to know better. Whatever's happening, he's old enough to know better.
I'm exploring my environment.
No.
Isn't that what you want your
No.
children to do? Explore the environment. Well,
You've told me all I need to know.
oh, you're getting more, sweetheart. I found fire extinguishers.
Why does it not sound good?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So, you can know how this turned out.
You
I'm
dispelled
sorry. We're-
everything out of the.
We are at the end of this podcast. So, if you want to know more, send us in your letters. Send in your fan mail. Courtesy of Nine Flags Coffee Roasters, 1504 Nacogdoches. Carol,
Yeah.
sign off.
Oh, bye.
Five.